So there's only 2 people.
All right, we'll give it a minute for the door to get open and let people come in. Hopefully, right now, there we go, starting to come in. All right. Just give it a moment here. Good morning. Hi, Patsy. Hi, Norman and Kay. Hi, John. How are you? I always like this part to see who's going to come and visit with us today. I'll just give it just a moment while we let it make sure everybody gets in. And of course, then people can watch on the replay. All right. Well, it is Tuesday morning. My name is Candace Swick, if I haven't met you, and this is Village Chat. It's kind of the Westminster's Village of Today show. Thank you for joining us this morning. It's a beautiful fall day. It's not super sunny out, but it is not freezing. It was a really pretty drive in.
Give it time.
It was a really pretty drive in. So today, excuse me, this series is called The Faces of Westminster. And today I have a special guest with us because The Faces of Westminster could be anybody who kind of is here at the village every day. Today I have Stacy Davis, our Director of Culinary Services.
Good morning, everyone.
And I asked Stacy to join us because not only does she make all of the awesome food here happen at the village with a rather large team, she actually has I would almost call it a second job. Would you call it your primary?
No, it sometimes feels like a second job. So yes, the amount of time spent doing it anyway.
So that's really the reason why I asked you to join us, because I thought that's just so interesting. And it's not something that you would think of, when you first meet somebody. So before we get to that, I want to give you a little update on what's happening with the renovation. We are almost done with the social center middle with Mendelssohn Hall. The dining room,
yes,
Crossroads dining room is open. It's not complete. We're looking right now about mid-December.
Yes.
To be able to be really open and have all of the little extra things installed, art and all of that.
We have a few things that we haven't brought out yet. So we want to wait till the project's complete to unveil some things.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Oh, I'm excited.
So when we get all that done, I will be sure to let all of our depositors know and guests so that they can come in and book a time to have dinner.
Yeah.
And try it out with the new dining room. So that'll be a lot of fun. So, okay, let's get on to the fun stuff. What is your other job?
I spend a lot of my other hours running outside of here, literally running miles upon miles a year.
To run marathons.
To run marathons.
You are a marathon runner. And I ran the Indy 500 twice. And it was more of just a challenge to myself. I can't say that outside of that you'll ever see me running down the road. So it's something that I really admire in you that you do. But let's go back to, just for those who don't know you, you are the culinary director.
Yes. Here
at Westminster Village. When did you come on board and how did that end up being your paid job in life?
I've been here just over a year now. So August 30th was my anniversary. So I've been here just over a year. I've been in the food service for over 20 years and I've done restaurants, I've done contract food, I've done hotels, banquet facilities, those venues. And this one kind of came into my lap as an opportunity to bring my knowledge and experience to this wonderful community.
Well, we've been really glad to have you. So I have some fun facts about dining.
We like fun facts. I always give Candace fun facts.
I think it's fun. I even started some fun facts on our social media. So how many venues do we have?
Today I have 4.
How many
but
will you have?
I will have 6 venues. So we'll be serving out of 6 areas within the village. When all said and done with the construction project, we'll have Crossroads Dining, the Village Pub. I have 2, for those of you who don't know, in the health center, we have 2 areas that we serve out of, terrace dining, and that's our restorative dining. And then the cafe, We have another dining facility, which is about to go under renovation, and that's an assisted living, and we will have memory care.
So 6. So then how many meals are served a day? You
Figure
told me
it's
this
a little
once.
over 600, and that's, including breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which is served in all of our licensed areas, and then lunch and dinner are served in our non-licensed areas.
So how many employees, how large is your team? How many people does it take to make all that happen?
Depends on the day of the week, but we aim for about 70 to 75 staff, and that includes my management team, as well as servers, cooks, utility, all different areas. So as we like to say, it takes a village. My team in itself is a village. So
now that's what you do every day and get paid for. Let's go to the other job that is unpaid. That just kind of blows my mind. You're a marathon runner.
yes,
And you clarified for me, a full marathon is how many miles?
26.2. If I was reading my book, it's 26 miles and 385 feet, but
Oh my goodness. But so you kind of focus on the half marathons?
half marathon is kind of where I got focused. I've actually only ran one full marathon of the 26.2. So
And how many of the half marathons have you run?
official ones, I've ran 30. That's where I get the bib and a medal. I've probably ran close to 40 between some of my trainings, doing virtual ones, especially during the pandemic. And I don't count those though. They have to be official for me to count them. So I just hit 30 in San Francisco. It's actually the bib I brought with me today.
So show us, this is your moniker that you always have to show everybody your moniker.
So
You're Super Stacy.
So anytime that I have the opportunity that when they say, do you want your name on the bib? It always says Super Stacy.
That is fun. And
This is actually from my very first half marathon. I can't decide which one is my most favorite, if it's this one or my full marathon. You said mine was the Indy Mini in 2017. Was my first. So running has not been something I've done my whole life. A lot of people have passions that, they've done since they were a child. Mine is not by any means, because if you would find me as a kid or in high school, I was that person who, when running the mile in high school, had somebody come pick me up in the car and drive me halfway around the building so that I didn't have to run. It wasn't anything that I had any interest in doing until I found myself on a fitness what's the word? Journey would be the word, and to a healthier lifestyle. So I guess I can give that background just a little bit. When Candace asked me if I wanted, to do Village Chat, I said, sure, of course I will, whatever you need. And then she told me this is what we were talking about. I said, oh, what did you ask for? I said, that's the one thing I could talk about for days. So it was actually September 7th, 2015. I was very unhealthy, very overweight, and walking from I at the time I was working at Subaru, and walking to my car to the building was by far the most exercise I was getting. And my best friend and I said, we need to do something about this. We got to get into shape. And we started working out. And then I got into a little bit of a workout routine, but I really wasn't paying any attention to food yet or anything. And I was very fortunate to meet a few people who got me involved in a group that of supportive women who helped guide my journey and lead me to losing 120 pounds and becoming a runner. So
and that's how it started.
That's how it started. In fact, so I joined this group, and the first almost entire year, the leader of the group, she was insistent that I was going to be a runner. And I was like, this lady's crazy. I'm like, I'm losing weight. I'm feeling good. The things are going well. I like to work out. This is great. This lady thinks I'm running. She has another agenda, because this is not going to happen ever. And it was actually in 2016, the group of friends I had made a lot of them had ran the Indy Mini.
Mhm.
And I sat at home watching people on Facebook post all their pictures, and I was jealous. And I thought, I want to do that. But I wasn't there. I hadn't even ran a quarter of a mile at that time. And that weekend they had a discount, and I actually signed up for it, but I didn't tell anybody. I had signed up for it until January of the next year. So this is May. So I had this held on to that for 7 months that I had signed up
Oh
for
my
it
goodness.
before telling anybody on it. So
Were you training during that
nope,
time?
nope, because I didn't have to yet. Training would start in January. So that's
Okay.
when I had decided to reveal that I had signed up for it. I had started doing a little bit of running at that the rest of the year, doing my first 5K was that year, and I did a few 5Ks, which was 3 miles during that year. And then at the beginning of January is when I began my training for my first half marathon. Training is intense, and I followed it to a T, like I follow my work schedule. Well, but the way I go, I treated it like a job. It was 4 days a week running. I would run Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays would be my long run. And each week you would increase your mileage. So, the first week I might have only ran 2 miles on that Saturday, and the training got me all the way up to 12 miles. And each week it was a new milestone, which was very, very exciting for me to achieve that mileage on that. I will preface by, I am nowhere near the fastest runner in the world, but I've told people, I tell my little nieces and nephews, although they're getting bigger now, they always would ask, did you win? Did you win? I said, as long as we do our best, we're all winners. So I always did my best. And then it was that day, May 6th, 2017, when I completed my first, and I actually hit my goal. I had a goal of doing it in under 3 hours, and I did do it
I
under
was going to ask that.
3 hours. Yes.
When I did it, I'm not a fast runner. For me, it was just, can I get through it?
Yes.
Can I do it? Can I hit that line?
Mhm.
I had some injury when I was younger. And so it became this challenge of like, can I actually do that? But it's not something I have wanted to ever keep up on. So you continued from there.
I did
Run 30.
actually.
So how many a year did you run?
Well, so that year I had set a goal to do one every month for the next 6 months after that first one. So I did one a month that whole rest of 2017 through October. And finding a half marathon in August is very challenging. So I went up north to Michigan, which is to this day is one of the hardest ones. It was a trail run that I've ever done. But that became a challenge that I wanted to complete during all that. So those 6, I have ran that 5 more times, and each time times were slower until I got to the October one. That October one was right here in West Lafayette, the Purdue Half, which is one of my favorite races. And in the running world, we use the term PR, which is personal record.
Mhm.
I PR'd at Purdue, and I was all I wanted was that Purdue medal. And I achieved it then. So I then took a break November, December. I think I came back to running them and retrained for January, and that one was in Miami. So as I got into this running, another side note of the running was I wanted to include traveling with it. So I've started, I don't have it necessarily, I want to hit every state goal. But I have this new little mission that I every year, and this kind of happened more with the pandemic and different things, but every year, one of my other bucket list items is to go to all 30 Major League Baseball stadiums. So every year now I try to incorporate a race with a baseball game. So this past year I hit
That's a great idea.
yeah. This past year it didn't work out because I actually had it planned in 2020, and then we know what happened. So I had, which was actually this race, the San Francisco race, because originally the Giants were home. So that wasn't going to fall the same way. However, I went to, while in California for the San Francisco half marathon, I went to the Oakland Coliseum and to where the Angels play. So I at least got 2 stadiums on my trip. So but so all of 2018, I continued doing my halves, and towards the end of 2018, I started to get the itch of, should I do a full marathon? Full marathon is 26.2 miles. And I knew me that I have a lot of passion, a lot of reason, and a lot of like the whys. So the Chicago Marathon, which is one of the big marathons, it's a lottery system. So you can qualify by your speed, which I was not going to do, but it's a lottery system. So you enter the lottery in October, November, and they do the drawing in December. So I decided if it was meant to be, then my name would be drawn. If it wasn't meant to be, then it's not my time to do a marathon. Well, my name was drawn. So I got in on the lottery.
So when is the Chicago? I don't remember.
Actually, it was this past weekend of this year. So December of 2018, I knew I would be running the Chicago Marathon in 2019.
Wow.
So the beginning of the year, I had started training, and then I took a break in May, and then my actual training for this marathon started in June.
So how many hours does it take to run the 26?
So I had a goal on that one too, of doing it in under 6 hours. That was my goal. And now, just to give comparison, the winner this past weekend, it was in 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
I saw it come across. I think the female one was like 2:40. So
oh my goodness.
I happened to, well, of course I checked it, but I had my own personal goal of 6 hours, and I did it in 5:58:56.
There you go. You did it.
So
oh my goodness.
Trust me, I knew all of that. But the actual running of the marathon wasn't the big thing. The big thing was the training. Throughout the training, now I don't remember exact. It's about 435 miles for the training plan. There were days on a Wednesday I ran 10 miles before going to work in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
I think we started that one at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I was very blessed and fortunate to have, I have a very strong community of friends and that are runners. So it's very helpful. I have my running partner. We've run thousands of miles together. She would get up with me and go on all these ones during the week. They would take turns. So the peak of your training for the marathon is a 20-mile run.
Wow.
So I had different people go on different legs. And the 20-mile run, I tried to make a little meaningful to me. And just of the different areas I've ran. So what I ended up doing was I made a route, and I ran from Lafayette, Faith East in Lafayette to basically Faith West in West Lafayette. So in a lot of turns and loops and different things inside, but I ran on all the areas. I do a lot of my running on campus. The celery bog, those are my big areas of where I run often. I renamed the celery bog Super Stacy Bog, but that's just my own thing.
I'll be sure to let them know that they need to update the signage. I drive by it every morning.
Yes, but the training was probably the biggest accomplishment. I think I missed 3 training runs that whole time, and they were forced. Kind of got bronchitis during the middle of it, and that's probably the last time I've been sick. But and I was kind of forced of, is it worth it? Were those 6 miles more important than me taking a break? So it was a job. It did consume my life, which is part of the reason I haven't decided that I wanted to run another one, because I know what it takes for me to be able to do it.
Intense than a half.
Yes, it's definitely, so I've continued running halves. I don't know that I have one scheduled just yet, but
So I have to tell you, so I ran my half, I did the Indy.
Mhm.
And I did it with a group of friends from work. And I had wanted to do it just because I'd had an injury and thought that I would never be able to be as physical again. And I thought, no, I want to see, can I accomplish this? Well, I know nothing of the running world.
Mhm.
I'm following along with a friend who's just telling me what to do
Sure.
and when and how to train. I still couldn't, like you're saying these things, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember it was like that. But I didn't know that there's a 5K or a 3K.
Mhm.
So we're running along. It's race day,
Yes.
right? We've done the training, we've done all this, we're running along, and I have no idea that there's this 5K and all these people are going off to that. I'm like, wait, what's going on? Why, are we done? And my friend, who happened to be my boss at the time, he's like, no, come on, no, this is only, and I was like, I remember feeling so deflated. Like, I thought it was over. But I did it. And then we went and ate a big giant cheeseburger. So I
Yes.
probably don't fall in line with this is what you should do to run a marathon. So because we're running short on time, tell me, like, what's the biggest challenge of running a marathon?
Staying consistent and trying to balance, balance my diet, figuring out what fuel I need, what to eat before, what to eat after, and just staying motivated. And I've gone through phases over the last 5 years 6 years where I'm like, I don't even know if I want to run anymore. Sometimes my body's tired. Sometimes I'm sore. I've had injuries. I fought plantar fasciitis. I sometimes, but it's how it makes me feel. Like I feel great after a run, no matter how sore I am, or even ultimately how fast or how slow I am, because I've gotten faster and then I've gotten slower, and then it's different from time to time. But I'm opposite of a lot of people because I like to run with other people. I'm not a very good, a lot of people do very well running alone because that's their alone time.
I was more like that.
And I like to have a group. Now, oddly enough, for those of you who are out there who do know me, when I run, I don't talk, which is probably the only time I don't talk, because I'm a very talkative person. So it's always funny. I
Yes,
tell
you
people
are.
when they're going to run with me, I'm like, just so you know, I don't talk when I run. I want other people to talk. I want to hear you talk the entire time, but I'm not much of a talker when I run. It's kind of funny because I am a pretty heavy talker.
I enjoyed being alone.
Mhm.
Had my headphones. I enjoyed quite a bit being alone. I did not really enjoy having other people because I don't want to talk. I'm concentrating on breathing.
Oh yeah.
That was probably my biggest challenge, was trying to figure out how to breathe so that I wasn't hurting. Because and when I first started,
For
I
sure.
would hurt in my chest.
Through these years, I've had the opportunity to help motivate and run with other people, and I've watched a lot of people. Sometimes I have a lot of pride in myself on some of my accomplishments. I didn't know that I could find that same pride and joy in watching other people achieve their goals as well. And that's been some of the fun things that I've gotten to do during my running career. Is I've watched a lot of my friends complete their first half, and I know what they're feeling, and it's I didn't know it could bring me as much joy as it did them to stand there and watch somebody cross those finish lines. So there's been a lot of things, friendships, strength, and it's the healthy part of it as well. Is I've have ran with every one of my nieces and nephews. I've made them run a race with me. Friends who didn't run, I got them to run races with me because it was like a thing. I wanted them to join me in what I like to do now. During the pandemic, my mom started walking, and I know I was the motivation for her. It was right at, my marathon from Chicago was in 2019. So 2020 happened. So there wasn't a whole lot to do. She started walking. She was walking 100 miles a month.
Wow.
And just because there was nothing better to do, but she'd call me about shoes and about track, what kind of watch to track with and running belts. So then her birthdays became easy. I just started buying her running stuff and making it all that. So
That's exciting. So I was going to ask you what's your favorite memory from a marathon,
that's
but it
easy.
sounds like
Well, that's easy too. So we'll use the marathon for favorite memory. So Chicago, big city, huge race, 40,000 people in the race. It has one of the best crowds, like that they talk about it all the time. I had, I think it was 17 people there cheering me on directly with me. I had my family, my parents were there. I remember when I told my dad something was going on at home that weekend, and he said something about not going, and I said, Dad, I don't ask you for much. I said, I want you to be there. And so my parents were there, my sisters were there, nephews were there. I had 8 friends that were there that found me 8 different times on the course.
oh, wow.
They mapped out different miles to get to and they took the L, they took whatever, and 8 different times they found me on the course. And that was just the motivation. So some of my
That's
actual
so
favorite
cool.
memory was mile 25. They were all there at mile 25, and that 25 is my favorite number. So that was part of the reason they were all there. And my mom ran like I don't know, 100 feet with me. Like she saw me coming and she ran alongside of me. So that's one of my favorite
Oh.
memories. And I had
I hope somebody got a picture of that.
oh yeah, we have pictures. And then, so then at mile 26, I know I've got 0.2 to go. And I also knew there was a hill at 26.
Oh,
And my best friend and my sister are at mile 26. They couldn't find each other. They were at mile 26, and they were standing next to a guy with the megaphone. And all of a sudden I hear, here comes Super Stacy coming up. And I had cramps at mile 23. And all of a sudden that hill was like nothing to me. I flew up that hill because I saw all my babies, and they had me going. So that's my favorite memory of the marathon.
Awesome. All right, so let's close it. Well, wait a minute. John had something really cool to share. I didn't know you were a runner, John. But he said his secretary would tell him to go run or play basketball so she could get her work done. That's a great comment. But thanks for sharing that, John. That's neat.
Fun fact, usually the staff can tell if I ran or not in the day.
Why? Because
they can tell by my mood if I ran or not.
So you'd be crabby if you didn't run?
A little bit.
Interesting.
They can tell, my staff, it can tell. And I wasn't working here when I had started my training, but where I was working, they watched the transformation, and they really could tell. But they could tell here too. They'll be like, you didn't run today, did you?
Get out there and run your miles.
Mm-hmm.
So let's end on marathon runner, but what's your favorite part about Westminster?
Well, that's easy. All the wonderful residents here. I knew this was when I first started thinking about this job, taking this job, I knew there would be a major rewarding factor of meeting all the residents here, and it's gone above and beyond anything I can imagine. I think of many as friends now, and in family. I feel like I have a lot of grandparents here. But it's very, very special, as I expected it to be, but even more so.
It's pretty extraordinary.
It is.
It's like, I sometimes pinch myself. I get paid for this? This is my life.
I love,
incredible.
Sometimes I'll set time in my day and I just like to go sit and enjoy a meal with the residents, or, just sit down and talk. And there's so many stories. There's so much, that they have to share. And one thing am I allowed to call out certain residents on this?
Sure,
Okay.
I guess.
So with what we're talking about here, there's a few residents that I watch out here every day, and I just hope and pray that I get to be them when I grow up, as I watch Rosemary and Mary and Ruth Ann. I don't know, but I watch them walk here every day. And
They go far.
I hope that I am like that, that I can continue with what I'm doing, walking and running and walking and being active into my 80s and 90s, like these wonderful people here. And I know I'm missing people too. They're the ones who I see almost every single day, rain, shine,
Don't
heat,
matter.
cold, they bundle up.
They bundle up and get out.
And I've been blessed to hear the stories of why, of why they do it. Because of course I ask, because that's what I hope to see myself doing
Mhm.
when I get to that age.
Yeah, I would agree. It's my favorite part too. Like I said, sometimes like pinch myself.
Yes.
Like, I get to be here.
Yes.
And I get to do this for a living. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
This
you.
was fun. I got to learn some stuff I didn't know.
Okay.
So that was cool. I love the memory of the Chicago Marathon.
That
That was neat.
I say I'll share some pictures with you
Yeah,
this
I'm gonna
weekend.
have to see them because
Yeah.
we're gonna be at a conference
Yes,
next
we
week
will.
together. So that'll be a fun time. So next week, like I just said, we will be at a conference to learn more about how to be better at what we do.
Yes, yes.
So that we will be taking a break next week and then we'll resume the following week.
Oh.
I did want to remind everybody that the bazaar is coming up that following weekend, the 21st. 22nd. Thank you. One of my favorite events of the year. So be sure to mark your calendars. If you haven't seen it in the news or in a flyer yet, be sure to mark that and get over here and buy your Christmas presents or just stuff for yourself.
Absolutely.
We'll actually be traveling still. So I'm really sad I miss it. So I've like asked a few artisans and residents who I know have some pieces to quietly like put a sticker on them for me. And then my friend Stacy here is gonna make sure they come to me.
Oh yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. So I thank you, John, for your comments, and I'd love to hear back from everybody. This has been a fun series for us to do, the Faces of Westminster. I thought it would just be an interesting break from some of our normal stuff that we talk about, just to learn more about who actually makes up the village and some of the interesting life stories that we have here. There's 400 on any given time, about 400
Yes.
residents and 300 employees. That's a lot of people.
It sure is.
And we know it's a special place. We know from how it was set up, but it's also from the people. And so what makes them special and interesting? So that was kind of the thought behind this series. I hope you've enjoyed it. So we will see you in 2 weeks. Have a great week, everyone. And thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.